Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Sumera, Healthy Wali from the platform of Behind Artificial Intelligence Teacher Training Institute Level 1 student. Welcome to all of you in my second TED Talk review session. Viewers, in this review series, I am exploring some of the world's most inspiring talks and sharing the lesson that I personally find meaningful and useful. Today I am going to review Learning How to Learn by Barbara Oakley. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce today's speaker. Barbara Oakley is an educator, author, and professor known for her work on how the brain learns. She has helped millions of learners understand that learning is not simple about intelligence. It's also about understanding how our brain works and how we can learn more effectively. So let's explore the important lesson which I learned from this inspiring talk. The first lesson is that learning is a skill. So one of the biggest idea I took from Barbara Oakley's work is that learning itself is a skill. Sometimes we think that successful students are simply naturally intelligent, but that's not always true. A person may struggle with a subject today and become very good at it through the right strategies, practice, and patience. So, this completely changes the way we think about learning. Instead, we saying, I am not good at this. We can say, I haven't learned this yet. I believe this small change in our thinking can make a huge difference. So, learning is not something reserved for a few intelligent people, but everyone can improve their ability to learn. The second lesson from his TED talk is that focused and diffuse modes. One of the most interesting concepts is the difference between focus mode and diffuse mode of thinking. When we are a focused mode, the speaker said that we concentrate deeply on a particular problems or task. For example, when I am studying a difficult topic, I may focus completely on understanding it. But viewers, sometimes when we are stuck, forcing ourselves to think harder does not help. This is where the diffuse mode becomes useful. So we step away from the problem, relax, take a walk, exercise, or simply allow our mind to rest. And surprisingly, sometimes a solution comes when we are no longer actively thinking about the problem. This teaches us something very important. Learning is not always about working harder. Sometimes we also need to give our brain space to process information. So this is very important concept which I learned from her TED Talks. The next is the power of practice. Another important lesson is the power of practice and repetition. We cannot expect to understand something perfectly after reading it once. Learning takes time. So, when we practice something repeatedly, our brain becomes more familiar with the information and the skills. For example, when we learn a new language, we don't become fluent after learning 10 words. We practice those words daily. We listen, we speak, we make mistakes, and we practice again. This simple principle applies also to mathematics, public speaking, technology, coding, and even artificial intelligence. Practice turns knowledge into skills. This is very important lesson I learned from her TED Talk. The next lesson which I learned is avoiding procrastination. Another lesson that really caught my attention is the importance of dealing with procrastination. We often postpone difficult tasks because our brain naturally wants to avoid discomfort. This is naturally. So we may tell ourselves, I will do it later, I will start tomorrow, I don't have enough time today, but tomorrow can easily become another tomorrow. So our usual strategy is to break a light task into simple tasks or simple pieces. Instead of saying, I have no studied this entire chapter, we can say, I will study for 20 minutes. Once we begin, the task often feels much easier because our brains start working. So, viewers, rather than waiting for motivation, sometimes we need to start first and motivation follows. The next important concept of this TED Talk is the importance of sleep. Another powerful lesson is that sleep is part of learning. Many students believe that studying continuously for longer hours is the best way to prepare, but our brain need rest. So, viewers, during the sleep, the brain processes and organizes information we have learned. That means sleep is not simply wasting study time, but sleep is actually part of learning process. This is an important reminder for the students, teachers, and the professionals as well. We should not feel guilty about taking healthy breaks or getting enough sleep. A tired brain cannot perform at its best. So, effective learning requires a balance between focus, practice, rest, and the sleep. Viewers, my personal reflection is that I found this topic extremely useful because I'm also continuously learning new skills, especially in artificial intelligence and education. Sometimes, when I am learning a new AI tool or trying to understand a difficult concept, I may feel that I am not learning quickly enough. But this TED Talk reminds me that learning takes time. I don't have to understand everything in one sitting. I can break a difficult topic into smaller parts. I can practice, I can take a break, I can come back to it later, and most importantly, I can keep going. This is especially important and in today's world because technology changes so quickly. So, we cannot learn everything once and stop. We have to become lifelong learners. I also believe these ideas are extremely relevant in the age of artificial intelligence. Today, AI tools can help us to summarize information, explain difficult concepts, generate examples, and support our learning. But AI should not make us lazy learners. Instead, we should use AI as a learning partner. In this way, AI can support the learning process while I remain an active learner. Technology can give us information quickly, but we still need curiosity, critical thinking, practice, and creativity to truly learn. So, the most five important key takeaways are these. The first one, learning is a skill that can be improved. The second, we need both focused thinking and relaxed thinking. Third, practice and repetition help turn knowledge into skill. The fourth lesson, which I learned from this very important TED talk, is that breaking big talks into smaller steps can help us to overcome procrastination. And the fifth, which is the most important, is sleep. Sleep and rest are important parts of effective learning. These lessons are simple, but they can completely change the way we approach education. So, viewers, overall, I found Learning How to Learn by Barbara Oakley extremely valuable and practical. My biggest message from this topic is that don't just try to learn more, Learn how to learn better. This is all about today's session. See you in the next session soon. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Be healthy, keep learning, and use the AI wisely. Allah Hafiz.